welcome to Food Prep Friday. I'm Jules and this is my channel, It's a Dish, which is part of my food blog. Today on Food Prep Friday I've got a little bit of a different day where I'm going to be prepping a few ingredients. I'll be doing meals this time, and so that's like quite exciting because I wanted to turn this day into a day where I prep food and meals and get as much done as I can. So I actually got groceries last night. I've got this massive bunch of celery here and I will be turning that into my vegetable meal bases, as well as cutting it up and freezing it into different meals. I've got some leftover spaghetti here that doesn't fit in my storage jar, so I'm going to be cooking that up for the girls' lunches. I've got an abundance of Feijoas, so I'm going to be doing some baking. I also thought if I had some time I might make some smoothie packs using up the Feijoas. So for the baking I'm doing Feijoa, streusel muffins, Feijoa and apple crumble, banana chocolate muffins to freeze for lunch boxes. I'm going to make my seeded bread, have in the freezer. I'm going to be prepping Bo's burgers and burger patties, so that will be enough for one meal and then Bo's lunches, hopefully for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be doing an in-and-out burger sauce, keep in the fridge. The meals that I'm going to be prepping today are butter chicken, and since I've got the chicken out and I'll be cutting up chicken, I thought I would cut up enough chicken to make homemade chicken nugget. If I've got enough chicken, I actually haven't checked, can't remember what I ordered, but if I have enough, I wanted to make a chicken chowder soup, and so I'll cut up the chicken for that. Got a whole lot of beef mince, I think like 6 packs or something, so I'm going to prep a few meals out of the beef mince. So we've got the burgers for pretty much 2 meals, and then we're going to be doing some bahn style meatballs for meatball sub, and then I've got a shepherd's pie I really want to do, so I'll be prepping the mince for that, and prepping mince for mince on toast, which is another meal that we really love in autumn winter time. Yeah, so I think that's it. Like, I'll be listing it all in the corresponding blog post, and let's do this. While the bread is rising in the hot water cupboard, I just thought I would move on to the next thing, which is my veggie base. And then once the bread's almost ready to go, I'll preheat the oven and then I'll do the baking items so that the oven's on for all of the baking items at once instead of being on all day. Veggie base, this is like a vegetable puree base that I keep in the freezer in little snap lock bags. Pull out to add to any kinds of meal. Soup, it's just a really good thing to have on hand, especially if you're running low on things like onions and garlic, or you can't be bothered cutting them up, which is one of the things that I find, like sometimes I'm just like, oh, I can't be bothered cutting up an onion. I've got some celery here, some onions, garlic, carrot. I will check my freezer to see if I have got any courgette I can add into it, but because I've already grated the courgette and frozen it separately, I think I won't bother. And I might actually go out to the garden and pick some parsley to add into this as well. So if you do have an abundance of vegetables like courgettes and stuff, this is really good to add to it. It's a really good way to use up celery before it goes all yuck. If I don't use it all up, I will cut it all up and freeze it in a bag as well. But I do have a chicken chowder soup that I would like to make. I will portion off cut celery for that recipe, which I've already labeled in a bag. Here in my freezer I have got a stock bag where I will be putting in all my vegetable ends and onion skins, things like that. I'm actually going to be cooking down this vegetable base in the Thermomix, just because it means that I can carry on and do something completely different. Do on a stove top in a large saucepan or a fry pan, and then just puree it in. Not actually sure how much I'm going to make today, but just give it a go. See how much I can fit in the Thermomix bowl. So these just need to be cut into smaller chunks. So I'm going to give the celery a really good wash. I'm going to use the leek. I find that they have quite a lot of flavour in them, especially really great for soups. This is a really good way to eliminate food waste, especially if you don't have like a compost situation. And all these veggies will add heaps of flavour. I'm trying not to cry. I should have cut the onions last, really. Ooh, she's ice spicy. So you might be thinking, why are you dedicating a whole day to doing all this? Wouldn't it just be easier to do this day by day? But I find that when you are working with like-minded food like chicken or beef or garlic and onions, you can just do it all at once and it saves the drama of it and also the dishes. So just crush that garlic, it makes it super easy to peel the skin off. And then I'll chop my celery. But if I was to chop it and freeze it, I would do it quite thin. Let's start adding things into the Thermomix. So I'm probably going to cook this in batches because it's quite a lot of vegetables. Add in some oil. So it's just been sauteing down for about 5 minutes. I've just given it a little bit of a chop. So what I'm going to do now is just scrape down all the sides. I think I'm going to give it a little bit more of a chop because pieces are still quite chunky. And then it's going to cook away for about 20 minutes. It's probably going to take me a bit longer to do this whole process because I'm using quite a lot of vegetables. It'll be way quicker in a pot. But for me, it's just that convenience of I don't have to worry about it while I am moving on and doing the next thing. Baking. So we've cooked one batch of the Veggie Base, all pureed up, quite reduced down. I'm going to put it in a large bowl to add to my second batch once that's done. Then I'll stir it together so it's got like an even amount of everything in it, and then pop it into freezer bags. Freeze once it's cooled down. Now we are moving on to the meal prep with chicken first. To divide this, this will be cut up for the chicken chowder. So that's the celery for it and the chicken. I just got my bread ready to pop in the oven. So I've prepped my chicken nuggets cut up here. So it's cut up, ready to go into the freezer with my chicken for the chowder. So here I've also cut chicken for butter chicken. So this is actually a trial. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. I really hope it does because it's not a chuck it all in one pot recipe. So I would do it in stages. I've written it down so I don't forget. In the bottom we've got a can of tomato puree. I think ideally you want it to go right to the bottom. With that we've got stock and brown sugar. So that's round one. Use one of my bag seals when it freezes, which I'm sure it will. So that's a sealed bottom piece there. So I've just ripped a hole there. So in theory what I was going to do is layer the next lot, put a bag seal on and then put the chicken in the top so that you open the bag up in the sequence that you're going to cook the food. So first of all you would brown up the chicken and then you would add the next lot and then you'd add the tomato puree part at the end. So if I had some stronger bags that would have been great. What I'm going to do is add the next stage into a smaller bag because I do have more of those. What I'm going to do is try and seal that off again so that just kind of covers the area where the hole is. Here we're going to have some lemon juice, yogurt, and then our chicken. And now we're moving on to the apple and Feijoa crumble. I'll share the recipe for this on the blog once I get it photographed. So I've been cutting up the Feijoas, I've softened the butter. It's going to weigh the rest of the crumble ingredients in this bowl. Crumble is to die for, it's so good. And you can substitute brown sugar for coconut sugar. And the same with the flour, you can use like a gluten-free flour if you prefer. So I'm just going to stir that to combine. Then I'm going to spray a baking dish, and I've sliced up and peeled my apple. These are just floury, soft apples. Perfect way to get rid of yucky apples. I'm going to scoop in all of the Feijoas. I try and do it so that I don't weigh the fruit, I just do it depending on the dish. These cook down really beautifully, so they will reduce quite a lot. What I try and do is just fill this whole container with fruit and then top the crumble so it's like quite overflowing but not spilling over, and then when it cooks it reduces down perfectly so it will fit within the dish. You can always just squeeze out the fruit too if you want. It's really good for all the soft fruit like that. I find that you just get more fruit if you just scoop it. Now we're going to move on to our Feijoa streusel muffin. This is a pretty straightforward muffin recipe, but you're just going to do like a crumble streusel topping. So I'm going to put some butter, sugar in the KitchenAid. While that's combining, I'm just going to do my streusel topping. I'm going to reuse this streusel crumble topping bowl. I'm going to pop that aside to sprinkle on top when I'm finished. Now I'm going to add in some yogurt. These are a larger muffin case, so I'm only doing 8 instead of 12. So you're just going to press in Feijoa half into each muffin, the centre. And then top it with the remaining mixture. Cover that Feijoa. Had a wee coffee break. So now I'm just going to sprinkle on some white chocolate and the streusel and some slices of Feijoa on top. Ready to go in the oven. So my veggie base has cooled down now. I've given it a good mix. Now I'm just going to pop it into bags and freeze them. Now I'm going to move on and do some of the mince prep. I'm going to quickly do my in-and-out style burger sauce. Oh, actually don't have much mayo. Now I'm going to move on to my shepherd pie mince base. I'm not going to cook this today. If I had more time and energy I would, but I'm going to chuck it all in. And then on the day of cooking I'll just fry it off. Break up the mince first because that just makes it easier to combine everything. Crushed garlic. Okay, we're on our last recipe. This is just going to be a beef mince for mince on toast. I'm hoping to stretch it to... It's similar to the shepherd's pie, a bit simpler. Done. So as a wrap, I just thought I'd run through everything I've made today. I'm exhausted and I didn't do everything I had planned, but that's okay because I can just do it another food prep day. Here we've got the in-and-out style burger sauce. We've got mince on toast prep, banh mi style meatballs prepped, shepherd's pie mince prep, veggie bases, Feijoa and cardamom muffins, a seeded bread loaf, apple and Feijoa crumble, boiled pasta, chicken dot wrap. I've already popped in the freezer the butter chicken prep meal, cut chicken for the chicken chowder, soup for the chicken nuggets as well. I think that's everything. I've probably prepped pretty much 6 meals, some lunchbox stuff, some meal bases, sauce for a dinner, snacks, lunches, dessert. I'll see you next Friday.